all present over here. Today, the webinar is with Mr. Amit Ramachandran. Before I introduce you to him, I would like to introduce our project code Unnati. Project Code Unnati is basically a project which is done in partnership with UNDP and SAP Labs. Head and High Foundation is the implementing partner for the Career Guidance and Counseling Program. The other projects include the Women Entrepreneurship as well as the Entrepreneurship for the Youth. So today I'm very glad to have with me Amit Ramachandran. So I mentioned he's one of the key partners in Chiramat Precision India. He oversees admin and related operations. Chiramat Precision is into manufacturing of precision components as a full-on manufacturing unit. It's a second-generational entrepreneurial entity with the organization celebrating its 30th anniversary. The organization culture has been nurtured by Amit as a part of the management team. He oversees the working of the admin, that's allocation of monthly funds, which includes discussion with all the departments to see the requirements, finance-related discussion with customers, and supplier handling discussions with banks, follow-up on need for new staff or training of staff, first point of the new client or supplier media-related activities. He is a BBM graduate from STM College, Bangalore, and he has frequented to Switzerland to understand the industry-specific processes. And he is also he's also one of the directors of Canada Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and also a member of with CII and YI Bangalore chapter. Currently, he's doing an online certification course in M&A with Indian Academy of Law and Management. He's also a guitarist and has also been following the traditional fitness methods, which include Silambam and Kalari. Over to you, Amit. A very, very warm welcome. And as we start, I would actually first like to know a little more about Chiramat Precision.
Sure. First of all, thank you, Anshika, for the introduction. Good evening to all. So before I start talking about the company, the two names of the two foundations, Unnati and Held High, it's a fantastic name, because when I saw the poster and I saw the name Head Held High, I think it speaks a lot. So congratulations to whoever came up with that name and that initiative. Okay, so yeah, to talk a little bit more about how Chiramat started, it's one of our favorite story. When I say our, it's my family's favorite story, because our life, a little comfortable life, started with this company. So I would want to, if the time permits, take it back to the time of my grandfather, that is my father's father. His name is Gangaya Acharya, and he was a civil contractor. And I think I'm talking about the 1950s, those times. And those days, as people might be knowing, the contractors were not done through a degree. It's their experience, it's their know-how, and their street smartness made them what they are. And to give an example, in Mangalore there was a very famous restaurant called Mohini Vilas, and that was. He was a contractor during the construction, and I still hear those stories from my aunts. They say when that particular restaurant was inaugurated, and when the boss walked in, he slipped in the mosaic because it was hand polished by my grandfather personally, and all those beautiful stories. But then what happened, the youngsters came with a degree from the different universities, and then people preferred to hire contractors with degrees, and then he lost his, credibility as a contractor. The business went down, and he made some wrong investments and decisions, and, it seems the family went through a lot of difficulties. So this was a big turning point. What followed next is, it was the time when my father, Mr. B. Ramachandra, late Mr. B. Ramachandra, he was coming back after answering his second PU examinations. And because of some ill health, he was unable to answer it, or do justice to the exam. And he had a very big question mark in his head, like, where does it go from there? And at this point, one of his friend got to his notice that there is a new a technical institute called Habib Technical Institute, started in Mangalore by the Basel missionary from Europe. And those days, this Basel missionary have done a lot of contribution, especially in skill development, skill training. And if you see the history of Dakshina Kannada, it's always a mention of, tile factories, textile factories, and it was a very big contribution from the Basel missionary. So my father, getting to know about this, he went and visited this particular institute, gave a small interview, and he was super excited to join. But he needed a few hundred rupees to, apply in that institute. So he comes back to his mother and says, so and so, I have an opportunity in this technical institute. So if you can lend me some money, I would want to start my career and see where it goes. So it seems my grandmother told him that, I don't have money, but you can take a couple of bangles of mine. Whatever you get from this, you can use it to, get into this institute. And he did what his mother told him to. And that was a turning point because my father was introduced to the world of technology or so-called technical education. Okay, and he started getting very interested in this field. He invested a lot of time and energy, and came out as a first-ranked student when he passed out. And subsequently, he got a chance to be an assistant professor in this particular institute. And the second turning point came at this time to my father. The then principal of that particular institute was a Swiss gentleman, and his name is Mr. Jacques Monnet. He was a principal in that institute, and he observed my father's growth, as a student, his performances, his results, and then his performance as a lecturer. And at the same time, his father from Switzerland visited this particular institute. And there, Mr. Monin, proposed to his father, saying that there is a gentleman by this name, Bantwal Ramachandra. I think he's very knowledgeable. Why don't we give him a chance to come to Switzerland and work in our company and see if we can make a career out of it. The first thing what the gentleman from Switzerland said was, see, I can't promise anything. First, I want to meet him. I want to see what all work he has done, and then I can promise you anything. And my, God's good graces, my father's luck, the meeting went really well, and Mr. Monet was impressed with whatever he had contributed to that institute. And there he decided, okay, we are going to take you to Switzerland and we will train you in this particular, field. They have the similar kind of industry what we have, and they are also an experts in watch component manufacturing, which is our core business as well. Okay, so once in Switzerland, my father was treated just like a family member. He stayed with that family, got trained for a couple of years in that company. And when he realized that, okay, now I know what this entire technology is about. And I've been away from my family. He was married by then, and his wife was my mother. She was in Mangalore, and he was in Switzerland. So, I have to come back and do something in Mangalore. So once he came back, well, the situation was still a little difficult at home. So what he proposed to his mother was, like, Mom, we have a shed where they used to keep these coconuts, we used to call it a shed for coconuts. And we used to use the skin of the coconuts to to heat the water and cooking, etc. So he took his mother's permission to convert into a small workshop with just 2 machines. And that's where the entire story began. But that was not the end of it. The challenges were still there because he has 2 machines, he has a workshop, and now he needs the orders. And once again, the gentleman from Switzerland, whom we call a godfather now, he used to help my father with a few orders. And my father, being the sole employee of his own company, he used to work round the clock. Even at nights, he used to charge the raw material, set an alarm, wake up, go again, charge the rods, set the machine, set the tolerances, to make sure that the production reached. And also, whenever the orders were less, he used to request, our godfather in Switzerland, an opportunity to go back to Switzerland. And even the Swiss gentleman was happy, because he also needed my father's help. So that's how this to and fro happened. He worked in Switzerland partly, came back to Mangalore partly, and then they started a settled business. So my father and my mother, they started this venture called Hava Industries, which was a partnership, but a small cottage industry. And in the early, like 1990, one of our chartered accountant, a well-wisher, he suggested us that, the government is coming up with a new initiative called as the export-oriented units. And since you have all the orders from Switzerland, why don't you go ahead and, try and see if you can utilize this for your benefit. And that's where Chiramit Precision India was formed. So it is a partnership firm run by the family. So it started with 4 partners. That is my father, Mr. Ramachandra, P. Ramachandra, my mom, Jyoti Ramachandra, my elder brother, who is a partner for production and planning, Chirag Ramachandra, and me, I'm the partner admin. And we started with 6 machines. We started running the factory round the clock, and my father being who he is, and my mother with all the support she gave to my father, they ran 24/7, and we started growing. And now, by graces of God, we completed our 30 years, and we are 160 employees strong, and we have a production capacity of 160 machines, both conventional type cam-driven machines and also the new technology, the CNC machines. And a little bit of what we do is, like you rightly said, we are into manufacturing of precision turned components. And when Chiramit Precision started, our core business was and still is to manufacture components for the Swiss watches. Especially, it goes inside the watch movements. So it is very minute, and we have turned. If there are ITI technical students listening, they would understand. We have turned the components less than 1 millimeter size, and we have drilled a hole which is even a 0.9 millimeter hole. We have done such precision jobs, and this has helped Chiramit a lot, because the most difficult part for us is to maintain the precision. Okay, so we reach the precision level. We supply to Swiss. We were, God's graces, we had a chance. We are still working for the Swiss watch industry. So we learned the quality standards of the world. We are at par with them. And then we started growing from watch industry to electronic industries, auto components industries, aerospace, aeronautics, etc. So now we are a ISO and aerospace certified company. So our core business, that is the watches, which is not a very easy field. So this is one of our USP. And yes, so that is Chiramit for you, a little bit about how we started and where we are.
It was really nice and inspirational, actually, if I could say, to listen about the Chiramit's journey and how right from your father till today, how you guys have been growing. And today, I think it's a great thing that it's now an ISO certified company. I'm sure that since you have had a variety of, you have gone from watchmaking to automobiles and aerospace. So what are the different roles on the manufacturing side in this industry? Because we have this ITI and Polytechnic students who are part of our program. They might be listening to your video. So what could you suggest them? Like, what are the different roles they can think about?
Yes, see, we call ourselves as a one-stop workshop. So a lot of emphasis is placed on manufacturing. And if you're asking about what kind of roles we have, see, as everyone knows, the entire thing is from the input of raw material to the output. There are different roles, and I will explain a little bit about everything. like I already mentioned, my brother Chirag Ramachandra is into production and planning and also the major decision making. So I will explain our way of working, and in meanwhile, I'll say what roles are there. Maybe they can relate better to it. Now, what happens is when we get a request for quotation from our customers, it goes first to the production and planning team, okay, which is headed by my brother, and also we have an in charge, a very well informed in charge. So, what is their background again? It is ITI. And why we need people from that background is they know about the entire technology or the technical aspect of it. Like for example, when we receive a RFQ, the production and planning studies the entire project. They study from what material it is, what capacities they require, how many employees is required, how many machines are required, what kind of tooling is required. So I think these are the basic education they receive in any diploma, technical diploma institute. So production planning, how do you say, team is one of the roles available for people in our company. And then it goes to the sales department, no, the purchases department actually, where they see, okay, now to do project X, we need X, Y, Z. So the first thing they do is they connect with our stock in the storeroom and see what do we have in stock, what is not available in stock. So what is in stock, we can use it then and there, and what is not available, we have to go ahead and inform the purchase department to purchase it. So again, there is one more role, that is of a purchase department in our company. And also, like I mentioned, they have an opportunity to be part of the store. And when I say store, it might sound like a very simple word, but it plays the storing of materials to tools to spare parts plays a very big, very important role in any company. And then if we come down to the production floor, once we have decided how a project has to work, this project is passed on to the production floor. There we have a different levels. Like we have we call them the machine setter, because that is the person who will set the machine for production, and the production takes off. And that is also one more opportunity available in a company like us, is to work as a machine setter or a machinist, you can call. And this person will have a couple of assistants to him. One is, once this person sets the machine, then he hands over to his second in charge, or the first in charge, so that the production is not halted. He makes sure the production is running, the required tolerances are maintained, the tooling is not broken, and everything is okay. So this is his job profile. So that is one of the profiles, is of the first in charge. And then once the production is on a full go, then he moves on to the new project, and the second in charge keeps an eye on a bunch of machines to see, are we reaching the required turnover or not. And then after this, we have the logistics department, for the exportation or domestic transport. We have a few people who work on the quality control, which is our most and very, very, very important segment of, because if we have to compete with the countries like Swiss, Japan, China, Germany, we have to be at par in quality. So quality department is another field where our friends can find an opportunity. And when I say quality, it goes from checking of tolerances to doing an analysis of making different types of charts of how the production is going. And then from there, it is sent to the cleaning department, where we are equipped with a high-tech cleaning machine, because, as I already mentioned, a watch is a very complicated mechanism. And when we send a part into a watch, and when that watch goes on a high level, like a premium level of watches, you can't have any defects or any oil or any scrap inside the parts. So cleaning department is another place where we have high-tech machines, and people with the ITI and technical background they have an opportunity there as well. And also, maintenance of the entire production facility, that is from machines to the systems to what are the equipments, that is also a very big opening and opportunity, because we see, from when I was growing, if someone comes and says, "Oh, I'm just doing some maintenance in a factory, man," people used to say, "Just a maintenance, come on, don't you want to work something better?" But after having hands-on experience, if they don't maintain our production facility well, I can't give them the guaranteed turnover or the guaranteed quality, etc. Okay, and okay, then we have another small roles like scrap segregation, wastewater management, etc., which is also a very important role. So these are the few roles available. If someone is interested, thinking that if I want to work in a company like this, what are the opportunities? So this, but the base is always, you have to know, or you have to be from the technical point. If you're talking about working in the manufacturing part of the company, it is easy. You can immediately get into the system and start learning and start training. And then yes, we have multitasking in HR departments, admins, and all those things. And another very important thing about our company I want to inform is, when we hire people, we don't specifically say we need engineers or diploma holders, or we need them to have so much of experience. Because if I turn back and see inside my company, I have, by grace of God, there are people working with us for over 18 to 20 years now. And they are from, not all are from the technical background. There are some SSLC pass, QC pass people, or some, of course, we have engineers, we have MBAs, we have diploma holders, but it doesn't stop there. If you have the drive to work, can work anywhere. But yes, to be a success or to get a good opportunity in the machining side of the company, it's better to have a diploma background, so it goes easy. So these are the different roles.
Thank you so much. You actually explained a lot in detail for our young friends to understand what kind of opportunities they are available. And I believe you have partially answered my next question, that what is knowledge, skills, and attitude which the young students will need for working in an organization as yours. But if you could elaborate a little more about that.
Sure. See, knowledge I already mentioned. See, if you want to be a part of the admin again, you would see a basic graduate or a PUC pass, and if they want, depending on what we have, if we are including them in some planning field, then of course we would need someone who has done an MBA, who has some work experiences, or if we want them into the accounts department, of course, someone with a financial background. But otherwise, a good solid technical degree in any good government ITIs or any private ITIs or a polytechnic, something, or engineers, they have a very good scope. But our attitude, this I want to speak a little bit about, because I come across, I've taken a few interviews for the company. I've come across a lot of different thought processes during these things. The attitude, I think, any student or a fresher should have is, one is the attitude and hunger for growth, okay, and a hunger to learn, and a lot of patience. And I will explain this with an example. Once we had a job opening for a designer, and we were looking specifically someone who knew SolidWorks. So there was a gentleman who walked in. He was a fresher, just passed out of college, an engineer. And he has done a basic CAD/CAM software, which was not helpful for me because I needed someone specifically for SolidWorks. And I told him, see, I love your profile, I love your attitude, good, but I can't hire you because you don't have one important aspect what I want, that is the knowledge of the SolidWorks. I apologized. He said, thank you. He walked off. Still looking for people. In 15 days, he calls me. He says, sir, I have done my course on a fast track basis in SolidWorks, and now I am a certified SolidWorks programmer or a designer. Can I please come for a second round of interview? And he walked in. I didn't have any more questions for him. I immediately hired him because the attitude and hunger for growth, he knew that he needed a job. I just told him what I wanted. He could have gone anywhere and searched any other job, but no, he went back. He studied what I wanted, came to me, proved it that he has it in him. I hired him. Fantastic gentleman. He had a very good growth in our company. So, and he had a hunger to learn because he kept on improving himself. He went online, read articles, interacted with people, got this new knowledge back to the office, discussed with me. Now, coming to the patients, that's where he messed up. He wanted to grow too fast. And I spoke to him saying that, okay, what's the problem? He's like, no, sir, my growth is not happening the way I want. And it was just 1 year down the line. I said, fine, I agree. I don't want to tie you up in my company. What do you want? He said, sir, see, it is not about my career growth. I'm happy what I'm doing. I want a salary. So for me, that was a very bad attitude because you wanted a job. This company was sweet enough to offer you a job. You had a hunger to learn. You learned. Now you want a job or you want a more salary. Okay, there is a way to approach. Fine, we spoke about it. We offered him a little more. He was happy. And then he did something very bad. He went behind the back of the company, contacted a few people against us. And, things didn't work out good for us. Then we had to break off the entire, colleague relationship we all had, and in a very bad way. Okay, now he's doing good for him, God bless him. It's nice. But for me, that was a lack of patience, See, there is always a way of growth. Like if you come to our company saying, sir, I want to be a machinist, I can't put you to a machinist on the very first day. You have a different step of growth. Start from there, and then you reach the point. You won't directly come. No, that's not how it doesn't work. So I think attitude very important. There is hunger for growth, hunger to learn, and patience. You need to have a lot of patience in life. And this pandemic taught us that you need to have a lot of patience. And skills for me, I think to work in a company like ours, you should have an eye for details because we work in such micro precision components. One small mess, we are going to lose the entire project. So eye for details is a very important thing. Self-learning, I can give you X, Y, Z, but A, B, C, D, you need to add to complete the alphabets. That is up to you, how interested you are to grow. So self-learning and perfection. See, now, like I said, we are aerospace certified, and by grace of God, a few of our paths are going into the aerospace and aeronautics industry. I can't be half perfect because it is a question of people's life traveling there. So perfection, what you do it the best, do it perfectly, and people will notice. So I think these are the few things, for me, what I look for in people.
Thank you so much, Amit. You are absolutely bang on with the attitude and the need for patience right now. I can totally speak up that with our generation, the patience has become a little less, and it's probably we have to work on it. So now coming to to the next question, like since you multitask, how do you plan your day and what are your day-to-day responsibilities?
Yes, I do multitask a lot. The reason because, see, like I mentioned earlier, we are a hardcore manufacturing unit, And during the growing days of Chiramit, this is what I heard my discussions with my father. A lot of emphasis was put on the manufacturing, a lot of investments were put on manufacturing and quality, and admin was always multitasked. Okay, and at that time I was not yet an active part of the company. So the feedback what we used to get is like, our production is at this level, our quality is at this level, the admin needs to come up. Okay, and only when I dived deep into the company and became a part of the admin, what I realized that, lot of planning has to happen. See, we can't be for a small manufacturing enterprise, for an SME like us, we don't sometimes have the privilege of hiring as and how an expert with a big pay package, because I would rather invest that money back into my company or hire someone more knowledgeable into the machines rather than. So that's why in admin we all multitask a lot. And if you're talking about me, how I prioritize my work is, so first of all, I have a to-do list, okay, which I create every. Actually, I carry a book right next to me, whether I'm sitting at home or in my room. Whatever I remember, okay, I have to. It can be any small thing like, oh my, I have to call my chartered accountant, or oh, I have to give this reporting. I just note down. I note down. Okay, it is a different thing that end of the day you end up doing 10 different things and 5 things are remaining in that list. But for me, yes, having a to-do list has helped a lot. I tend to forget when I have multiple things in my mind. I tend to forget. And otherwise, my day-to-day routine is, yeah, it's pretty simple. We wake up every morning thinking that we have to make this day count, and me and my brother, we usually travel together to the office and we sit together and we see what has to be done on a particular day, what has to be done for the week, what has to be done for the month. We make a list of the people we have to discuss with, timelines like this I am still developing, and very important to all the students. When you are working on something, create timelines, people. Otherwise, you never know how the time flies. And I used to do that mistake a lot. I take up a project or I take up a responsibility, I don't set a timeline, and only when my brother comes back to me saying, okay, where are the details, I will be like, okay, I forgot about it. So yes, we set the to-do lists, we have timelines, and according to that, priorities happen, and then yeah, that's how we spend our.
Yeah, I think that's a very good advice. I have also been trying to do this to-do list and timelines. Yeah, not have been very successful, but yes, on the way. So
Nobody.
yeah. So I also know that you have been to Switzerland for a lot of trainings. Would you like to share some of your upskilling experiences from there? And how can the youngsters use your experience? You would have interacted with people from different cultural backgrounds, and one of the skills of people should be that they should be able to adjust and work with people from different cultural backgrounds. So what is the skills needed, and what have been your learnings?
Yeah, since you mentioned the Swiss, yes, Swiss has been a very big part of my life, like a second home for me and my family, because my father and mother, they always told us this. Our comfortable life started because of Switzerland. Because of the opportunity, the people there, and the country gave us. And since my father's relationship with Switzerland, my godfather, who is I can say a lover of India, he travels India very often, and every December he used to come to India with a few guests of his, maybe his colleagues or his friends. So my interaction with Swiss people has been since my childhood. That's why I have a little bit of understanding of their knowledge. And yeah, I just love how their way of thinking, their culture is. And to tell you what I learned or I appreciate of Switzerland is, one thing is their commitment to time. You know, whether it is that invite to someone's house for a dinner or a business meeting or just a walk in the park, when they say 5:30, that means 5:25 that gentleman is there. And that is why I always used to listen to my father tell people over the phone like, hey, you better be there on time, Swiss time, like that. So that's the culture they created for themselves, and really hats off to them. Whether it is Swiss chocolates or Swiss watches or respect for time, they have a fantastic commitment to that. And I think we proud Indians, we should work on that, because I'm tired of people saying Indian Standard Time. I don't want to hear that anymore. We Indians should make sure that Indian time also gets a new meaning to it. Now, talking about my training in Switzerland and the reason why I went there, like I already mentioned, my brother was training in Switzerland. Like my father, how he got trained there. So when he was there, I used to visit very often. And then when I completed my graduation and I joined the company, my favorite subject was and is still marketing. But when we read case studies, in our college, we read more about a finished product. So when now I'm in an engineering company, my father takes me with him to a marketing trip to Switzerland, and they're talking about, I'm sure the students will understand, they're talking about mechanical drawings, tolerances, sizes, materials, oh my God, the finishings. And I was thinking like, what is that? The things are just bouncing. They're around me like someone is throwing ball at me. And then I come back home, I tell my dad that this is impossible. I studied something else in school, and what am I doing? So he said, see, Amit, you are in an engineering company. You need to accept that fact that you are not selling a product. You are selling a service. And what is our service? We are a manufacturer of components. So this is our service. So what his advice was to me was, why don't you take an on-job training, spend some time over the machines. And that was one of the reasons in our own company, I got hands-on experience on the machine. And I'll tell you, Anshika, it's not for everybody. My father used to always say that, precision component manufacturing is, how do you say, it's a profession of the crazy. And I felt it because every problem looks the same, but the cause is different. But what it helped me was I understood what is a complete manufacturing, what happens in our company. And then my father was kind enough to send me and my brother back to Switzerland because my brother wanted to introduce a new technology to the company, the CNC machines. But my father was a little skeptic because he was past 50 and he didn't have the energy and the courage to get in a new technology. So he sent both of us there, and that was for me a first time I'm working somewhere outside my company. And for me, that was a fantastic experience. I washed my boss's car there. I have cleaned the scrap from the machine. I've carried materials from the go down to the machine. I've helped someone clean the floor. For me, it was a fantastic experience because everything is happening in my company, and I know exactly what it feels and how they feel and how important each single role is. So that 3 months what I spent in Switzerland, whether it is carrying material or I was a second in charge, so I had to do a little bit of adjustments in the machines, changing of tools, changing of materials, a lot of advices from my brother because we were working in the same training in the same company. And what I learned is it's a very please, you can cut me short if I'm too long, but I want to share this the difference of culture what we have. Like in Switzerland, what I noticed is, now for example, if I am a Swiss man and I give my employee one particular process or a job, I know, and even he knows what he has to do. And he will make sure that 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. what he works, he knows exactly what to do. And if I go ask him more than 2 times, he's irritated. He doesn't even think twice to tell his boss, like, see, boss, you pay me for what I do. I know what I do. That one thing I really appreciated, knowing what your responsibilities are and not waiting for someone to initiate it, that I would want to introduce or force a little bit more in our company, because here sometimes we have a classroom mentality. We have to go behind people like, see, I see you in the mobile, come on, get back to work. Oh, where are the documentation? My God, it's been 1 week, I gave you, etc. So that one thing I learned there, like when you are given a job, it's your job, and if you do it, you will not have any interferences or any problems from your boss or your in charges. But compared to India, what I love about India is our hospitality. And I'm not saying it, inviting someone home with a smile and, giving them our delicious food. They love it. They go crazy for it. Yes. But even in the company, what I see with my colleagues and employees is the hospitality. Like we call each other brother and we understand each other's problems. And the most important This is a prehistoric thing people talk about India, which is also a very important thing for Indians. We are very, very skillful. We have skills in the tip of our fingers. And even the Europeans, they wouldn't hesitate to say that, Swiss people, Indians, you have skill on the tip of your fingers. And that's one fantastic thing. So in my experiences training in Switzerland and India, these were the few differences I saw.
That was so nice to hear, actually, and understand. And yes, as you said, all of us have some of our shortcomings and some of our strong points, and we probably need to learn from each other. And that's what is about different culture. So, since you have a very long career by now, what is the one best advice you received as an entrepreneur?
Uh, See, more. To be honest, my parents didn't teach me through advisors, and I'm not trying to sound knowledgeable. What I'm saying is, what I learned from my father and mother, and also my brother, is the way they are, their way of life. So if what I observed with my parents was, what I learned with them is the simplicity. When I say simplicity, it is like I'm not just talking about the way, or the way they put up in front of people. The way, first of all, simplicity and respect for each other. My dad and mom, what they had for each other, their sacrifice and their contributions to the family, and coming back to the company, their love for the employees and their patience for the employees, and the way they treated. To be honest, I always saw my father's door like a open door office. People from any department could walk in anytime, anywhere to speak any problem on earth. So for me, more than advice, I think this visuals what my family gave me, that was a very good experience throughout my life. So it was more for me like a brain training. Whenever I'm in a situation, I automatically, my brain reflects what I learned from my family, and what I should be. So, but yes, there is one advice what my mother always gave me, which I didn't follow those days, but right now I think she was absolutely right. That is, invest on assets which are always growing. Because she always used to tell me, because Amit, don't forget that whatever you earn, it's not for us. It is for you and your extended family to come. In those days, we were very young and fast and crazy, but right now, I really understand what she meant. So that is one of the fantastic
I
advice.
think I think that's actually an absolutely fantastic advice, which even all the youngsters can follow. That you need to invest and invest in assets to not spend all the money. Apart
Exactly.
from all the other advices which you said, you reflected, like your father having an open door culture with the employees, that I think is a very nice thing. So, I know that you are a second generation entrepreneur. So, what were the new challenges which you and your brother faced? Because we have a lot of young graduates who might want to take forward a family business, or who might want to grow their family business, basically. So, what are the challenges you can see?
Yeah, see, we had quite a lot of challenges. Okay, me and my brother together. Um, so I just had this conversation with my brother yesterday, because I wanted to. We keep talking a lot with each other. So see, like I mentioned, he trained in Switzerland, and in the Switzerland the culture is very different. It is like a one-man army. He told me, when someone is assigned a machine, from the cleaning of the machine to the setting to the production, till the quantities of production are removed, it is one person who does all the job. But in our company it was not like that. My father gave the privilege to our employees to have a first in charge and a second in charge, so that, okay, the quantity of machines are also more, and we can, the main people could focus on the different machines, and someone else could run the production. So the biggest challenge my brother faced when he came back to India is facing, to get his point across to the employees. What I mean by that is, see, my father started the company in 1991. So I was just 7 or 8 years old, and few of the employees who are 18, 20 years in the company, they have seen us grow. They have seen us go from school kids to college and now we are sitting in the in-charge seat, and we are giving them tasks and advices. So sometimes, he faced a lot of challenge to get his point across. Every new idea or a new advice was taken as a challenge. Man, his father was never so strict. Just because he came from Switzerland, he will think that he knows everything. I've seen him as a kid, etc. All that thing. So I think my brother showed a lot of patience there to make sure, he took his time and put forward his points and made a place in the company. And now, yes, I see it with my own eyes that the employees really respect his ideas and views, and they are more than happy to be a part of his leadership. And the second challenge what he faced, and a very big challenge actually we faced together, is when we lost our father in 2012. So, the whole world came crashing down for us, the entire family, because my father was like a backbone to our family and a lot of our connected families. And I still remember, both of us, we were in the final rites we were doing in the cremation ground, and we just did the most difficult thing for any son to do. And then we turn around and we see hundreds of employees who attended his final rites just looking at us with the hope that we have a plan. And then we turn our head to the right, we see a few of our relatives, well-wishers, friends, with looking at us with the hope that we have a plan. And that was a very big challenge, because from that day on, they say the shelter, the protection was removed, and we are vulnerable and we are exposed. And from that day on, whatever we take forward in the company, it is all on us, whether it's going to be a success or a failure. And to be very honest, my brother, he showed immense patience, because he had a lot of challenges at this particular time, being the elder son. So I still had my brother as a support, but he was the one taking all the hit, and he showed immense patience and courage. And not to forget our employees who stood by us during this hard time, helped us pass through this big difficult time, whether it is losing my father or the pandemic. They held our hands, and we walked across these difficult times. And also our clients, I never knew that the kind of emails I received from all the clients, or emails of support, emails of condolences, they being there, calls. So I think these are the things which helped us. So that was one of the challenge. But in general, if you give me 2 more minutes, I would want to, especially for the students who, like you said, they would want to get into a family business. The biggest challenge that will happen is the ideology, the idea behind why the company was started. This is the challenge I faced. The second is the way in which the company was formed. For all the students, see, when we study in college, it is a bundle of knowledge around the world that is compressed into one book. Knowledge taken from millions of sources, and then we study, we make it our weapons, and we come back to start a career. And in case if we are starting, if our friends are starting a new venture, if they have a market disruptive ideas, it's a whole different story. You go pitch your ideas to the right set of people. People are ready to invest on you. Boom, one day you are a success story waiting to happen. But coming into a family business which is already in the running, it is a whole different ball game. Which I faced is, I studied the book knowledge, where they show corporate structures, logistic structures, you got to do this, you need to do that. I come back and sit in my company is running well, and what structures, where, what is happening, So my very biggest challenge was to understand the company. So my request to all the people willing to join is patience, guys. You need to take your time. You have a lot of knowledge. That's your weapon. But don't enter with the axe trying to break out some branches, cut off a tree, plant a new tree. Don't do that. You get into the flow. Feel the vibe of the business. Talk to your elders. Talk to your father. Or if your grandfather has started the company, talk to. Okay, I don't know if you get to talk to him, you're the most luckiest guy. But ask your elders, why was this company started? What was the idea behind started? Okay, now we have grown from X to X plus 10 or X into 10. What was the growth strategy? Whether there was a strategy or whether it was just a growth, understand that, analyze it. Okay, spend time in each department, see see the soft spots, see the best parts, see the weak spots. What can you improve? Whether it is necessary to improve, then make your analysis, take your time, pitch it to your elders. Initially, it is going to be no for sure, because see, whether how simple or nice my father was, he always had a little attitude that I started from scratch. I had nothing to lose. So don't show daddy how to make children kind of attitude. But be patient, guys. Take it forward. Try to pitch your idea. You will be surprised. They might say no, but eventually they will be using that idea, whether you know about it or not. And one day, boom, when you are able to convince them that why this idea, just don't go on blabbering things. Have enough evidences. Show why you think this has to be changed. Show what is best about the company. What you think is the way forward and why the way forward is not correct, or if it is correct. So I think if you have a lot of patience and you go into a flow, feel the vibe, let the wave take you, push and pull happens. And one day you are there, the wave opens, you can walk in and sit on that chair of leadership, and then it is the only way up from there.
I think that's one of the best advice, and I can totally understand right now how difficult it could have been for you. Though I've never been in that situation, but listening to you, I could understand how difficult it gets. Even to because it's really difficult to convince people, and especially olders who have already done things to do the things in a different manner. So we have been talking, very difficult stuff. So I just wanted to ask it in a lighter way, that I know you're a dance and a fitness enthusiast. So can you tell us about little more about your Silambam and Kalari? Yeah, that would be in a lighter note.
Yeah. I mean, see, for us, for our generation, I'm not that old, but for our generation, the only entertainment was sports and dance, right? Whether it is someone's marriage or, your neighborhood cricket and volleyball, it was always sports for us. And me and my brother, we represented our school in cricket and volleyball. And then my brother was in Switzerland playing for a badminton league. So sports for both of us has always been a part of fitness or a routine as such. And dancing, yes, I used to choreograph a lot, but right now it's just a pleasure dance. I don't want the tension of choreographing and all. Whenever there's a good music, I move around. Talking about Silambam and Kalari, see, I've tried a lot of different fitness. I've done gymming, where it's hardcore weight training, which I didn't like because it is too static for me. One place with so many people in one room, I don't like it. Then I was training for kickboxing because I wanted to try professional fighting, and then again with the commitments I have with the company and the family, it is not easy, because you get injured, you need recovery time, and I was married, so it was not easy to come back with a black eye. I still remember once when I was sparring in kickboxing, I got punched on the stomach and I was knocked out. And the first thing that didn't come to my, it didn't hit my mind that I might be injured. The first thing that came to my mind is, what am I going to tell my mom and wife, if I'm in the hospital? They didn't know that I was fighting, and they thought it was just a fitness. So I used to do that before the pandemic, but I stopped it because the pandemic happened, gyms were closed, and I also, for me, it was too physically challenging. And something, okay, there are two good things that happened for me in pandemic. That is, one is me and my wife, we became parents. So I have a 11-month-old daughter now, Saraswati. And another beautiful thing happened was this Silambam, and see, I apologize for using the word Kalari because Kalari is a big ocean, and Silambam, and I do something called as Karla training, that is the Indian club training, which is a very small part of Kalari. I said Kalari is for the understanding bit of it. So normally these training, they don't happen online. I always wanted to go stay in Kerala for at least 6 months. I even tried asking someone that can I stay for a couple of weeks. He said, no, sir, a couple of weeks, you better stay back in your do gymming only. Kalari is a way of life. You can't learn in a couple of weeks, which I totally understand. So in this pandemic, people in this field, they also wanted to earn something. So they started with this online Silambam and, Karla Kattai training. And for me, that was an opportunity of a lifetime. And if I have to talk a little bit of Silambam is a part of Kalari, a kind of martial arts where you do it with a stick, a long 5.5, 6 feet stick. So you have a lot of defense and, defense, attack, blocking and all. But you can see it a lot happening as a Alankara Silambam. That is, they use this Silambam to do a lot of performances. I think during pandemic, there was one old grandmother who became very famous for, her tricks with the 2 sticks, So that is called Alankara Silambam. That is also very important, very beautiful thing. And then I also do Angapur and Karla Kattai, which is a body training and Indian club swinging. And why I love this is the injuries are very less, and this is very, very meditative in nature. You breathe in a certain way, you move in a certain way, you move your joints in a certain way. It's very fluidic, and this is what I love about what I'm doing. That is the reason, I decided that's it. Any fitness I'm going to, it's going to be Silambam or something to do with the Karla, what I'm doing right now. So my advice is, guys, all the fitness things are fantastic, but if you ever get a chance to train in this, don't let it go. It's very meditative, and for people like us in a hectic business schedules, you need this to calm your mind. You need this to bring back your focus. And martial arts or Kalari is all about focus, inner development, and reaching a different level in life, not just the money. Yeah, so that was a little bit about my fitness. So I think Anshika is offline, right?
I think I think she might have dropped off in terms of network issue. I think she should join back.
Yeah, I guess, yes.
But I think Amit, so far, the journey of the interview, I think, has been very, very insightful. When we look at the coincidence, if I might say so, that the journey of Make in India and the journey of the making of Chiramit, it's so, it's such a match, because before 1990, India had the license Raj, and 1990s is when things opened up, and that's when your father was like a pioneer and being one of the first few export oriented, and that too in an area of technology which we have always looked at Germans and Swiss to lead the way. So this 30 years is also, I know on LinkedIn, you talk about how you're happy to, and, proud to be part of the Make in India story. And,
Yes.
It's so wonderful to see that the journey of Make in India and the journey of Chiramit is so, well matched. And the past few years, as you talked about your personal experiences as an entrepreneur and the transition from one generation to another generation, so many, insights for, young people, to take from this journey, how to be an employee as well. I think Anshika has joined back.
Yes. Yeah, thanks, Shravan, for that.
Yeah.
Apologize. I don't
Complete.
know,
Yes.
some issue with my internet, so I am
No problem.
extremely
No,
sorry.
no worries.
I
No worries. No worries. I
I
was just holding place for you, Anshika. You can carry on with the
yeah,
interview.
I was just hearing about Silambam and Kalari, and suddenly I was knocked off.
So,
And firstly, congratulations, Ahmed, on being a father to a daughter. I
thank you. Thank you.
and yes, I hope you're enjoying your lessons in Silambam and Kalari. And
Fantastic.
yes, I
Yes,
would also like to learn a bit of it. Uh,
you should. You should.
Moving ahead, I would also want to know if there are any online or offline resources that you could recommend the young people to, get into this industry, or any some specific courses which an ITI or polytechnic student can take. I understand it's more of a hands-on experience, and as they do, they get to understand all this position. But any courses which could be useful for them?
Yeah, sure. See, let me start with the offline thing. I'm sure you all know it more better than me. The government of India is aggressively promoting this apprenticeship training program. Apprenticeshipindia.org. There's a website where people can get into apprenticeship and get it done. So I think for an ITI or a polytechnic, if their colleges will be definitely will be a part of this apprenticeship program. So I think they should speak to their college in charges and see how they can be. And what happens in this apprenticeship training is, for example, as we are a part of this program among all the other industries, and the students can approach us through a portal and upload their resumes, and we can see if they are, if we can contribute something to train them in a particular field in our company, which will help them tomorrow either to be a part of our company or to look for something ahead. So offline, I think apprenticeship program would be a fantastic thing for ITI and Polytechnic, because there are a lot of, see, even in Dakshina Kannada, the Canara Industrial Association, they are promoting this training program in a very strong way, and they have a pool of different kind of industries. So if someone is interested in automobile industry, there are people in the automobile industries, cashew industries, someone like us, engineering industries, paint industries, soda making industries, a lot of industries. So I think that would be one good thing. And second, coming to online, see, for ITI Polytechnic, I'm not so well versed in what online, but I know a few apps or websites. Like I myself am a part of it. One is, like how you mentioned, I'm doing my certification in M&A with the Indian Academy of Law and Management. There is one website I came across accidentally, and they give a lot of certifications in different type of corporate related, like contract, how to write a contract, as simple as how to write a contract, or what is a merger and acquisitions, or what is alternate dispute resolution, all those things. And for me, my most favorite website, okay, there are Upgrad and Unacademy, I've never tried them, but my favorite is, there's a website called Udemy, that is Udemy. Why I like that is, you name a course, there are millions of courses. I myself am doing advanced level of Excel course, and how to promote myself on LinkedIn, all such courses. Now, why I'm saying this is, firstly, they are priced very right, 450, 500 rupees. The only drawback is they are not live sessions, they are recorded videos, but we are all used to, by now in these 2 years, we are used to learning online. The best part is, you spend less, but you get to know. Now, for example, I feel, okay, how about I know a little bit about semiconductor industry? So if I take a small course there, they will give me a gist of what is it about, what it includes, how to make a career in that. Okay, I'm not interested. Okay, I didn't spend a lot. I spent maybe a month, and okay, I took a hit of 500 rupees, yes. So I think this Udemy people should try. I always, I don't promote it because I've got nothing out of it. I advise people, try this. You want to see your hand in how to create a website. I want to learn how to create a website. They have a course for that. or you want to know how to learn designing, how to make as simple as how to do my daily budgeting in my life. They have a small short course in that. So I think for offline, it is the apprenticeship program. I think will make wonders for the student. And online, yes, you have Upgrade, Unacademy. I have less information about it, unfortunately, but Udemy, yes, for me, I would always recommend that to people.
I would totally agree on Udemy because if you talk about Coursera, EDX, those are very costly. And I personally have done courses from Udemy. And as you said, they are actually priced very right. And they often have this, so much percent off. So usually, even if their courses are very high, like 8K, you can actually get it at 4K, 400 rupees sometimes when they have.
Exactly.
And also they are much better than Upgrad and an academy in my opinion, because Upgrad is really costly for people
Yeah,
to
yeah,
afford.
yeah. I heard that. I heard that.
uh, but yes, the disadvantage of course would be that they are recorded classes, but if you have a will to learn, then I think those are the best way to learn, or YouTube videos. So now if I would want to know what is the myth or a false belief about being an entrepreneur you have come across and you want to break that for the young people?
Yeah, sure. I mean, see, in my experiences, I've come across lot of people even before I joined the company. And since you're asking me this question, and I want to break it up into two sets of wonderful people. That is, one is the businessmen, and one is entrepreneurs. And why I say businessmen is I've come across stories. When the succession happens, especially during the real estate boom, the second generation or the third generation or the fifth generation sometimes, they realize that if I sell my property that my company owns or where my company is, overnight I can be a billionaire. Five generations of mine can eat. So why should I hit my head on thousands of employees, lose my sleep and hair? You know, it is not wrong. It is someone's goal, someone's objective, for a comfortable life. Yes, but I would always term them as businessmen. You grow something to make money. End of the day, you get a good deal for it. You exit, let it grow, not thinking what would happen to the people involved in that company, how they would take it, where they would go from there. Like there are people who work for 30, 40 years in a company, and then, it's a little hard for them. And the, another thing about, entrepreneurs is entrepreneurship is see, a business is growing your wealth. An entrepreneurship is investing your wealth, or they say no dav pe lagane ka. You risk it. You risk your wealth. Why? Because you have a craze to do something different. You have a craze to do something new. See, my father, I'll tell him, because he's my, how do you say, my book of experiences I read is my father's story. See, I used to always ask him, Dad, what other hobbies you have? I love machines. Yes, that's your career, but what's the hobbies? No, that's my hobby. So these are the entrepreneurs. They always have that itch to grow or to experiment. They get bored with being idle. Like I used to see my father sitting in his office till 8 in the night, and my mother used to always ask him, like, why late? He's like, no, I was just sitting. Maybe something turns up. Maybe someone would need my help, or someone would need my advice. And all he used to talk every time was about machines. So this is entrepreneurship. When you are an entrepreneur, you can't say that, bus, I reached here, yeah, chalo, now I have to relax. No, you can't train yourself to be that. Then you're literally forcing. Entrepreneur. See, I for the moment, I don't consider myself an entrepreneur, because there is an entrepreneur who has left a good platform for me. I got it in the easier way. I'm trying to grow on it. And if I'm able to create something, and if someone says that was very enterprising, then I think I can call myself as an entrepreneur. And another myth you said. See, when I was in college, people used to come to me, what after college, and they used to say, I think, I don't know if people know Kannada, but Shravan will definitely understand. They will see Ninge and Maraya, Ninappandu business means for you what, man, you have your father's business. You don't get a job, you go sit and, you can go to coffee day anytime you want. It's your father's business type of a thing. Namge and Maraya, we have to go look for a job. It's not very easy. But they don't understand that my father's or our entire family's resources are invested in the company. If I am not able to make a particular turnover, overnight I have nothing. I have nothing, nothing left for me. But I'm not saying a salaried person has an easy way. No, it would be really wrong if I say that. But I don't have that thing of sitting back and waiting for someone to pay me a salary. I really wish I meet back those friends again and tell them that, man, just sit for a day in the chair and see when there are 160 people you have to take care of, you have to reward them with their salaries, you have to manage the business, you have to grow the business. I think sometimes salaried business with a weekend off, salaried job with a weekend off, where I can drive off to Goa makes more sense. So that is the biggest myth. And another thing, the myth is like, having your father's business is very easy. It can be as small as, running my company, or as big as, taking forward your father's bakery or farm or, something. It is always challenging. When it is something of your own and you're trying to create something on your own, it is very, very challenging. And as an entrepreneur, and what I saw in my father and what I know is these entrepreneurs are always paranoid, because they reach one level, they can't sit idle, because they always a little paranoid about what if tomorrow it is not as comfortable as today. If you have that attitude, I think you will have ups and downs, but not for long. The day we get comfortable, we see that in politics also, the day we get comfortable, someone else takes it over. And if I may, one of my favorite hero, that is, I'm not talking about an actor, our late Siddharth sir from Coffee Day, I used to see some of his YouTube videos. He said that, money is till you make your first crore. And then it becomes a hobby, a passion. And he showed that passion. And recently we saw some updates about his wife, Madam, taking it forward. Really, I'm super, super happy for them. So he is also one of a very, very good example for an entrepreneur. So like that, guys, you can be a businessman, nothing wrong in that. It's all about the money, or be an entrepreneur, create something beautiful. So this is the thing.
Yeah, I think entrepreneurship, as much as it's exciting, it's also challenging. And anybody who just wants to be an entrepreneur because it's exciting should also understand that no, it is going to be very challenging also.
Oh,
So,
it
as a
is.
last thing, I would want to ask you, what is one advice that you would like to give it to the young students? Like uh, something from your career, from your life, which is the one major advice you think the youngsters should follow it.
Okay. Yeah, this is recently what my wife told me, and I made a lot of sense. That is, simple living in life. We should have a simple living, but a very high thinking. And another experience I have and want to share is, we should always take some time out for the loved ones, especially the family, because as we all know, from the day we are born, we're just getting old. Nobody's getting any younger. We are just aging plus. So whatever little bit of time, we have seen it in a pandemic. We have lost I have lost a couple of close friends. So life is too short. Spend a lot of time with your loved ones. Create something very beautiful, whether it is a relationship, family, business, a biryani, if at all. Create something beautiful. You know, spend your time growing, contribute something, so that the society can, benefit from that. Have a, how do you say, a busy work life, for our health. It's very important. The day we get too comfortable, all the problems starts. Have such a nice active life, so that end of the day, when it's our time to leave the world and go, we can give a nice pat on our back and say it was one hell of a journey. So this is my advice to all the youngsters. Every minute counts, every day counts. Make it count, even if it as simple as giving a hug to your mom and dad. Make it count. Create something beautiful, guys.
I think that's the best advice that everyone could have. And as you said, pandemic has really, really taught us that life can be very unpredictable. And whatever we want to do, we can never live it for tomorrow. We should try and strive, strive to achieve that as soon as possible, but without forgetting our family and friends, because we never know when is the last time we actually meet them. So thank
Exactly.
you so much, Amar. Thank you. It was a pleasure interacting with you. We have overshot our time. What we
Amit,
it
I'm
was
sorry about that.
so no,
I
it was not.
apologize.
It was so much a pleasure interacting with you, and I'm so glad that you could give us this time.
Amit,
Thank you so much.
Yes, Shravan.
Amit, Anshika, I'm going to take a little more time. I know we overshot time, but I think that's okay, as Anshika was saying. I think this is a phenomenal conversation. We've all heard about theory of relativity, and how when something's really going good, hours can seem like seconds, and that's exactly how the conversation was for me, listening in on to this, lovely conversation. There are some interviews where we ask, we would ask an audience saying, "What's the one takeaway from this particular interview?" In my case, I feel that there is no one single takeaway that I would focus on in this conversation that Anshika and you had, because I think the best nuggets are the ones where there are 100 little nuggets which that it's practical, it's applicable, and I think that was the beauty of this conversation. Whether it is you're talking about the struggle that your father had, when he started out, and the support that he received from different people along the journey, and your experiences of how you looked at the journey of the organization through your father's eyes, mother's eyes, through your brother's eyes, and your own eyes, in terms of how you made that transition, right? And the reality bites, like how you spoke about in colloquial Kannada about how people would come up to you and believe that you have it all set, and you're establishing and anchoring it in reality about how there's a difference between a businessman and an entrepreneur. What you said is so true. We know so many situations and cases where people have just sold, industrial estates, and made their money, and they're now sitting doing nothing. And there are entrepreneurs like you and your family who have trudged on to ensure that there is something that you're creating as a legacy, as you're running your organization. Even a lot of market related information in terms of attitude, and giving illustrative examples on how one can be a contributing employee, and the focus in terms of values driving it, whether it is spending more time. We've seen so many different people give advice focused on career, but you're one of the few people who's really talked about what a career is all about: work life balance. Because at the end of the day, you're earning the income to support your family, to be with your family. What's the point of leaving 100 crores if you didn't spend enough
Yeah,
time with your family,
exactly.
right? So I think it's really wonderful. Thank you, Amit, for your time on this interview. Before we close, we have a segment called Voices from the Ground, and in this, what we do is we invite feedback from the speaker, the expert whom we have on our program. So our program, as Anshika was talking to you, is Project Code Unnati, which has the backing of SAP as a company. It's been co-created by the United Nations Development Program along with Head High Foundation, where we focus on career guidance and awareness, employability skills, and 21st century skills for PUC students, ITI, Polytechnic, and undergraduate students. And this program was created to have theoretical components, practical application, And we felt that it would be further deepened by having people who are actually working as entrepreneurs, running businesses, working in different professions to come on to these webinars and, contribute their time and share their experiences. So, two things here. One, definitely, would want to know from you, your point of view, the relevance of programs like this, and if you think it's necessary in today's time and age. So I would, want to, ask for your feedback on such a program and whether you think it's important for these programs so that students come through it and, join organizations such as yours. So
Yeah, it is very important, Shravan. That's why when we started the conversation, I told Anshika that, first of all, the name of the foundations are fantastic and what you guys doing are really good. And I'll tell you the reason why I'm happy. Till I spoke to you, Shravan, I have no idea that, such initiatives are there. It's my experience was I visited once the government ITI in Mangalore, and the principal there, I think Mr. Giridhar Salyan, he is a very aggressive and forward-thinking gentleman. Okay, and what I noticed is he was also very sad that students passing out from him or his college, they are working as parking assistants in the malls because they can use their mobile phones, or they are just see, I'm not saying any jobs are low, forgive me if it came across that way, but what he was sad that, see, we have given them so much of skill and knowledge. I want them to go and work in some companies where tomorrow the goal is to make them a job provider. Now maybe he's a job seeker. So since you mentioned on the same lines, I think this is a beautiful initiative. We should, if people are trained under such initiatives, people get trained hands-on in some companies, and that seriousness comes that, anybody walking can be a job provider tomorrow. If that is put, and if this program succeeds to do that to any student or any fresher or anybody unemployed, I think our goal is reached. So I think what you guys are doing is fantastic. It's on the target, on the point for what we need right now.
Great. Thank you so much, Amit, for your feedback. Amit, just one more question. It's more of a
Please.
request.
Please.
So what we find is that today, today's young people don't really care how much the experts know until they know that, genuinely that the person speaking to them cares for them and is able to connect with them on a real basis. So, our interaction with you, gives us a sense of how somebody like you, when you're speaking, you speak from your heart and you've covered all aspects. And I think this is the kind of conversations that needs to happen in our colleges. So apart from this, one-off webinars that we are doing, we are also on ground having in colleges in Mangalore, Dakshina Kannada, Mangalore, Dakshina Kannada, we are having, we are inviting entrepreneurs to come into, colleges and address students. So I would want to check in with you if you would be open, if COVID protocols permit, to come into colleges in Mangalore to address students, on short talks, if you would be open to it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, see, after the interaction, if you experts feel like that, if I can contribute something, and if the students can benefit something from my inputs, of course I would love.
Great. Thank you so much, Amit. And I'm sure our team will be in touch with you, and we look forward to, more interaction with you, with our students across colleges. And of course, if technology permits and we have other colleges in Raichur and Bangalore Rural, we would love to have a webinar directly with the students where you can speak to them as well. Thank you so much, Amit, for your time once again.
Yes, I just need a minute because
Sure.
I have to thank you guys actually. I mean, for being patient, and Shravan, Anshika, Oshi, thank you for the questions and the interaction. Because even for me, as I spoke, I felt like, reconnecting with my roots. Already a few things started working. That okay, some things I have to incorporate and see if I'm actually following in my life. So thank you guys. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
You're welcome, Amit. And thank you, Anshika, once again for, doing a fantastic job as the program manager, and Toshi for working behind the scenes to ensure that, we are live on YouTube as well as, managing this Zoom platform for us. Thanks, Amit. Have a great weekend. Look
Thank you
forward
so
to
much. Stay
Thank you
safe.
so
Yeah.
much, Ahmad.
My
Looking
pleasure.
forward to hear more from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Keep in touch. Yeah. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye, Amit. Bye, Anshika.